Hello, Froggy here, and today we'll be taking a look at one of the Onslaught salvations. This time, we'll be looking at Eventide Ruins. This one comes from Eventide Ruins in Patrol, as you can probably guess, but they have cut some things out of it. For instance, if you go up this elevator shaft, you'll find that some things are missing. It still has the weird physics if you get too close to the side, so if you grapple up, I would turn 180 each time to avoid drifting too close. And you can see that this all looks a bit odd. A little bit of floating light action, and of course we've got the box keeping us in. Although one of the Onslaughts does not have a box, which you may have run into already. Luckily for us, the elevator on the way back is also open. So it's very easy to leave if you end up going down that way. The lost sector is also rather absent, which is kind of funky. I'm a little surprised they didn't just close that off with the door. But I suppose there's no reason to go there. Now the real fun begins once they teleport you out of the box. So it turns out that this room has a nice hole in the top of it. Although as you'll see in a moment, that is not super useful for us just yet. This whole area has a kind of a red hue around it, so if you've ever wanted to see the Ice of Europa tinted red, now's your time. You can see off ahead and to the right there is the area for the boss encounter with like 3 different ways to get in for the 3 different Salvation Onslaught areas. But as you can see, as soon as we get a bit away, we get joining allies. While the joining allies does go away when you complete this step, as soon as you get a certain distance away, it gives you the next objective update, which will simply give you a new joining allies. So, unfortunately, this Wave 6 is not actually going to work for us. At least not if we want to explore out of the box freely. And just showing that it is very easy to go back in as well. We'll be visiting here a bit later. Wave 10 is where the real fun begins.
You're doing great out there. Just hold on a little longer.
As long as you don't rally the flag, you can stay here indefinitely, and the joining allies is gone. There's a convenient hole in the back here you can use to escape. I would highly recommend having Navigator equipped, because that'll let you see a whole lot more with the whole out-of-box nature of things. Just gotta head back to the earlier encounter so you can see that we can get in there now. Previously, if we had gone this far, there would have been adjoining allies, and there will be if someone touches that flag, so you want to make sure you have a full fire team to have uninterrupted exploration. Don't know why I was expecting to be able to clamber up that. It's weird that clambering does not work when you're out of box. But it is convenient for knowing that you are out of box. Speaking of which, this box is unrelated. I'm not sure what this distinctive thing is. Is this from a different part of the game? I don't know, kind of gives me Throne World vibes? Not really sure. Anyways, of the dev cube here. Although it's not the most exciting dev object we'll come across. I was just checking to see if that was a hole. It turns out it is not. There are, like, multiple holes to get into these sorts of areas. The first time I went into Onslaught Europa with like a couple of underscore guys, we found a different hole to get out of that boss arena. But the one in the back's a bit easier. Well, verified this room still exists, so let's get back out of here. I'm going to be heading to my favorite feature of the out-of-box Onslaught experience now. It's where they store all the entities. Conveniently located at 0, although it is down a ways from the true map origin. But it's 0 enough for me. I'm going to take a bit of grapple flying up to get at height for it. But the trip is definitely worth it. It's not too often you get to see something like what we're heading towards. That should be... oh yeah, well, we're way higher than we need to be. Elite is already there, so... there you have it. See, we got a darkness ship and a bunch of other stuff. If you're wondering where that's used, you actually do get to see that ship fairly briefly if you happen to have a subjugator on the field. Anyways, it is in fact solid, so you can stand wherever you want on it, although you do want to keep in mind that if you happen to die and respawn yourself, you're going back to the boss arena. And here is 0. You may notice some other things that aren't currently on the field, like Leolixni being held hostage and the ghost turret and other fun things. See if we can get a better look in there. That looks a bit uncomfortable. I'm not sure why it's showing me an objective marker there, but I don't think I'm going there. But I get a very nice view of this pyramid effect here. And a decent view of the underside of the map. I would take some time to enjoy the sights. And now the sightseeing tour can continue. I've been out of box in actual Eventide before. There's some fun looking things you can see in patrol, and plenty of that exists here as well. But I've never gone out in this particular direction, since that wasn't where my target was at the time. Those buildings over there look pretty neat, but we'll get back to that later. There's a whole lot of solid ground here. A surprising amount. There's also a fair bit of ground that is not solid, so I would recommend keeping your wits about you, because you'll sometimes find that you are suddenly in the air. Let's see this ground here. Oh. This is in fact, well, it was in fact solid. Quite sneaky there. See, it's got a kind of double layer to it. And we've got ricochet rounds too. Ah, nope, there's the end. Yep. Guess we're flying. See if we can make it all the way to those Vex-looking structures on that mountaintop. So far, so good. Man, this thing is rather low poly up close. Always like getting to examine the background elements up close. They definitely are not meant to look too good at this distance, but I still think it looks pretty neat. No way it's solid though. Yep, we pass straight through it. Wonder how much further we can go here. Probably getting kind of... Yep. There we go. That's a true edge. You can see I'm all the way back at the beginning. One long climb later, and it's time to see if we can get closer to these buildings in the background. They're a lot closer than the structure we just flew out to, but I don't think Europa extends too far in this direction. The true edge is generally shared between all of the different maps in an area after all, and this is based off of Europa. And actually it looks like we might get to touch... Alas. Anyways, I hope you enjoy exploring the various Onslaughts. I sure have. And until I catch you in the next one, happy exploring.